We will not forget that young 36-year-old couple whose biological clock is running out faster than they can afford to buy a home and have kids.
Welcome back to This is VANCOLOUR. Last week, I tweeted that clip you just saw of the Conservative Party of Canada leader, Pierre Poilievre, speaking about millennial women and how their, quote, biological clock is running out. It got 4 million views online. Women were outraged, but some men and women didn't understand the fuss, insisting that Poilievre was speaking to the reality that couples feel both financial and biological pressures in planning to have children. Here to explain the outrage, a world-renowned Canadian gynecologist who is known for covering women's health and the author of the books The Vagina Bible and The Menopause Manifesto, Dr. Jen Gunter. Dr. Gunter, thank you so much for being here tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Now, Pierre Poilievre has repeatedly used this language about biological clocks running out. I thought it was a very strange way to frame the cost of living crisis, but you seem to tap into the outrage of a lot of women who actually saw that clip. Can you explain why what Mr. Poilievre said was so upsetting?
Well, it's very coded for misogyny. I mean, it reduces women to being breeders, basically. And nobody's used that language, biological clock, since like the 1980s or the 1990s. So there's also that. But it's this idea that, only women who want to have children inside of a sort of a marital relationship deserve to have a house that they can afford. I mean, that's really sort of the implication for that, so there's all that kind of coding to it as well. And many people are fine also renting, and not everybody wants to own a house. Not everybody's at the point and so where they're ready to own a house. And so this idea that you should have a couple, and I'm going to assume he means preferably heterosexual, that are married and making babies and owning houses and are sort of feeding into a very sort of heteronormative type of lifestyle. And, it sort of very aligns with like Jordan Peterson and those types, I suppose, which I believe, who's a friend of Mr. Poilievre's.
So is this a matter of Pierre Poilievre himself? Like, is this a matter of Pierre Poilievre giving women the ick because of things like sitting down with Jordan Peterson? Because anecdotally, I do know couples that delay having children because they do want to buy a home. And sometimes they do express regret that they delayed that because it can become challenging to conceive in your late 30s. So isn't that something that policymakers should be talking about?
Well, I think it's kind of lip service if you're talking about somebody who's voted against $10 daycare and voted against dental care for children. So, there's a lot more to having children than just having a house. And that's certainly a very important thing. But, are people who live in Metro Toronto, I mean, what if they want to live in a condominium? What if they want to live in an apartment? So I think that absolutely there's a housing crisis. But it's important to look at how people have actually voted and what they're actually saying to sort of separate sort of this misogynistic language and lip service from what their actions actually are. And so this is a man who hasn't, voted for anything that would make it easier for people to actually raise children, which is an important part of having children. And this is somebody who, is using misogynistic coded language, who has sat down with, a misogynist. So what does that say? I mean, there's a lot of things there to give women an ick factor, and really any human.
No, fair enough. Now, how should we be framing this conversation? Because you just said that, it sounds like he's having this coded language for maybe his base, but how should policymakers, and I guess all of us, be talking about this then?
Well, we should be talking about poverty and what happens when people aren't able to afford the type of lifestyle that they want to have when they want to have children. I mean, we need to talk about the realities of access to healthcare. We need to talk about the realities of access to dental care. I mean, it's a big picture, and the housing crisis is obviously very, very important. But if this is a man who wants us to believe that he actually cares, then we should be looking at what his actions have been. And to give it lip service, it's felt like he was giving women lip service with this sort of misogynistic commentary with the biological clock. And, this is a guy who's, voted against reproductive rights. So, we see the whole scope. Caring about reproductive health isn't just caring about like this one narrow section.
No, that's fair enough. And Dr. Gunter, I am truly honored for your time tonight. I know there's a lot going on in the background, but I do appreciate you taking the time to chat with me. Just to really end off here, curious, what should people look for when they are looking at their politicians talking about healthcare and women's health?
Well, I think they should look at their record. And, I don't know I can't remember how long he has been the leader of the opposition, but ask yourself and look it up. It's all public record. What bills has he helped pass that benefit you? What bills has he helped pass if you're a woman to help you? Who are the people that he's speaking to? You should also, look up the fact that some of his videos up until relatively recently had this very coded hashtag on YouTube that, I can't remember the actual name for it, but, it was clearly very sort of incel, misogynistic coded. So you should look at what somebody has done. Believe somebody when they show you who they are. You have plenty of opportunities to work with, with who's in power. That's how, the daycare got passed, is how dental care got passed. So there's opportunities there. What has this man actually done for you? What is he saying? And who is he actually representing? And when you use words like, biological clock, and you haven't actually shown that you care about reproductive rights and the whole scope of the experience, that tells me that you're just pandering for votes. And women are really aware of that ick factor.
Dr. Gunter, thank you so much for your time tonight. I know that's going to get a lot of people talking. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Folks, that was Dr. Jennifer Gunter. You can find her work in the New York Times, but also please be sure to pick up her various books on women's health. And thank you to Dr. Lori Brotto for connecting us. Now, after some business, let's end on a lighter note of outrage. Celebrities getting mad right here in Vancouver. Fiona Forbes will report on it up next.